Welcome to today's talk. Now today I'd like to go into something which is really quite fundamental to the way in which we practice asana, which is the movement that we perform on the mat, maybe at home or in a studio. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because there is a lot of attention given today to the performance of postures in terms of which postures we should practice, maybe the sequence of those postures, maybe the alignment of those postures. So for example, where do we place our feet in relation to our knees and our hips and our upper bodies and all these kind of alignment-based ideas. And then there's also a lot of attention given to the style in which we practice physical movement, whether it be Iyengar yoga or Ashtanga yoga or Hatha yoga or Vinyasa, whatever it might be. But if we look back into the Yoga Sutras, which is a foundational text on yoga, we get some very, very clear guidance in relation to not the what we practice, but the how we practice. And for whatever reason, this seems to be getting neglected in a lot of settings today. And as our teacher from this particular lineage, Sri Krishnamacharya, who you can see just kind of over my shoulder here, he was tireless in expounding the wisdom of these ancient texts, not just for the sake of intellectual prowess, but actually so that people understood the reasons why we practice in certain ways. So there are two words given in the Yoga Sutras which define the how we practice, and these are sthira and sukha. Sthira and sukha. Sthira means stability, broadly speaking, and sukha means comfort and ease. And basically what Patanjali says, the author of the Yoga Sutras, is that an asana, so a posture or a movement into an asana, should have both of these qualities. Therefore, there should be a feeling of stability, and there should also at the same time be a feeling of ease and comfort. And to elaborate a little bit more, it's important that those two qualities are felt in the multi-layers of what we are in terms of that which we are observing when we practice. So that simply put means steadiness and ease at the level of the body, steadiness and ease at the level of the breath, and steadiness and ease at the level of the mind. And it's important also to mention that we actually want 100% of both. So with practice over time, we want to feel physically very, very steady. But at the same time, we also want to feel very, very comfortable and at ease with what we're doing. So in the body, a sign of steadiness is that there's just stability. We're able to stand very, very still. We're able to sustain the posture. And a sign of instability is perhaps the feeling that the body is shaking or that somehow we have to come out of the posture sooner than we might like. And then the ease is just the simple ability to feel comfortable physically in that posture. At the level of the breath, we want the breath to be stable in the sense that we want it to be rhythmical and long, but we also want it to be smooth in the sense that it feels smooth and calming. And we also don't want it to feel jerky or shaking or like we're having to take additional breaths or that perhaps there is tension arising as a result of our breath pattern. And similarly, in terms of the mind, the steadiness is that we want to be able to focus the mind on the sensations or the posture that we're doing to bring ourselves inwards. But at the same time, we don't want there to be tension in the mind. So there should be a little bit of spaciousness and openness, just non-judgmental awareness of what we're doing, rather than instability in the mind where the mind is moving all over the place and a lack of comfort because perhaps we're judging what we're doing or we're getting involved in trains of thought that are not related to the present moment. So sthira and sukha are two key pillars for the how we practice. And actually, if we're honest with ourselves, if we look at our practice, we may find that there are times in a practice where there's almost too much stability. We're trying too hard. There's too much effort going on. And as a result of that, at the level of the breath or the level of the mind, there's a huge amount of discomfort and dis-ease. And similarly, there may be times, for example, Shavasana might be a good example here, where actually we're so relaxed physically that the mind actually starts to wander and there's no stability in the mind. So although it sounds very simple and very obvious to have this stability and comfort, when we look at it at the multi-levels, we begin to realize that this is actually a very, very deep and profound practice that can really change the way in which we practice asana, the way that we practice breath and so on, and can therefore be quite transformative. And we may find, if we review our own practice at the moment, that these two core pillars of sthira and sukha are not necessarily being applied to the depths and to the levels that they might be. So please do have a little think about these two concepts. And as always, we can also, and I won't go into this in so much detail now, we can also think about how stability and comfort can actually inform the way that we live our lives off the mat as well as on. So thank you once again for joining. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.